morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. Well, it might not be Thursday when you're watching this, but it is Thursday today. And I was visiting with one of my past teachers last night, and she said, it's Friday Eve. That's what we call it. It's Friday Eve. So I'm like, okay, Friday works for me. This is a little close for me, so I'm just going to move it a little back a little further. I don't know. Anyway, maybe it's not so close for you. Got to keep my social distancing going on. Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about conflict resolution. Highscope, if you've ever heard of Highscope, they're a great curriculum company that we like to use in the lab school. They have a program, so to speak, that we don't necessarily buy into everything, but they do align with our philosophical base of being developmentally appropriate for children and having things hands-on for children as much as we can. So we're going to talk about conflict management based on our conversation from yesterday. If you haven't had a chance to go and subscribe on YouTube, it's called Just Keep Parenting. You can get updates every day. Right now we are making a video every day just to kind of keep things consistent for the children in the lab school. But there's lots of videos, short videos between 3 and 7 minutes. So we'd love to have you subscribe and follow us and just make the world a better place. We're all trying to be helpers right now. Mr. Rogers would be proud of us for all trying to be helpers. So be a helper today and go subscribe. Just Keep Parenting. All right, so we're going to talk about steps in resolving conflict. There may be some conflict happening in your homes at this point. This is what we train our children to do. This is what we train our teachers to do to help manage the children's emotions, right? Recognizing that many of the emotions are new for them as young children. And frankly, they're not new for us as adults, but sometimes we don't manage them very well either. So this could be good for all of us, right? So the first step is, if there's something going on, to approach calmly, right? We don't want anybody to get hurt. So if there's any hurtful actions going on, we approach calmly and help them and stop that hurtful action. So many times if somebody is, hitting somebody, then, it's not necessarily appropriate to yell across the room, stop hitting him, right? But we approach calmly and we just give that little child a big little hug, right? So that it stops the hurtful actions of what's going on. Because as we yell at them, or as we come over and grab their hand and pull it down, we're modeling for them what we don't want them to do to somebody else. And so we want to make sure that we're modeling appropriate calmness, if you will, right? So if it's going on between two children, you just place yourself in the middle of those two children, right? That's a obvious wall of not being able to get to the other child. We use a calm voice and a gentle touch, and then we remain neutral, right? We don't take sides at that point because we don't know necessarily what exactly happened. So we want to remain neutral. The second step, number 2 step, is to acknowledge the child's feelings, the children's feelings. Bev Boss, one of my favorite early childhood people who's now passed on, used to talk about how she would mimic what she was seeing with the children. So she'd fold her arms and say, you look really angry right now. What happened? Tell me what's happening, because I see your face all scrunched up and I see your hands folded and your fists are tight. What's going on, right? You're validating that child's feeling of what's happening inside, right? Because sometimes they don't know what's happening inside. They don't know why they're feeling like this, right? So helping them understand that this is what I'm seeing. I'm mirroring your feelings at this point, right? Let the children know that you're there to hold any object, right? So if it's over an object, I'm going to hold this doll while we talk about this. And then we'll figure this out. We'll figure this problem. We've got brains, right? Our brains are going to help us figure this out. And so helping them understand that you are there to help them solve the problem. Not to solve the problem for them, but to help them solve the problem, right? We're going to make problem solvers out of children. Number 3 is to gather the information, right? Sometimes this happens in a minute of seconds, these 6 steps. Sometimes it takes a little longer, right? But number 3 is to say, what's the problem? And they'll both, if it's between two children, they'll both start talking, and I always say, you know what? I'm going to listen to, Dory first, and then I'm going to come and listen to Jeff. And so everybody's going to have a turn. So Dory, you tell me what happened, and they'll tell me the story. And sometimes Jeff starts to, and I'm like, I know, Jeff, we're going to get to you in just a minute, right? And so the whole time it's just calm. It's just helping them have a voice, right? So many times we don't give children a voice. We tell them what happened, right? Tell me what happened, right? And so then, okay, so Jeff, this is what Dory said. What happened with you? What happened when this happened to you? And being able to help them understand that you are a listener, right? You're not choosing sides. You're just trying to gather information. And then the 4th one is restating the problem, right? So Dory, it sounds like the problem is that Jeff was playing with this and you wanted it, and we only had one toy today to play with, right? And so we got to figure out what to do. Jeff, you were playing with it and we're frustrated because Dory came over and took it. She didn't ask you, and they're, so what can we do, right? That's step number 5. What can we do? Ask for solutions. And we're going to choose one together. It's not going to be me, the teacher, the parent, the adult choosing it for them, although I'm going to help them, be guided with that, but I'm not going to choose for them. So what can we do to solve this together? I'm completely amazed every day when we have a problem. When they've been heard, all of a sudden they go from their brainstem back up to their thinking brain, and they're like, well, we could get out the timers, or you can have it for till that clock goes to the 5, and then I'll have it till it goes to the 6. They, especially at this point in the year, because we've been talking about this all year, right? I am amazed at how well they problem solve. It's like, you guys are amazing, because so many times they come up with solutions that I wouldn't have ever thought of, right? We have when we have whole group, right, at the carpet, we have problem solving sessions, and I am amazed at what they'll come up with. We have a problem here, boys and girls. It looks like so-and-so and so-and-so, and they're like, well, she could do this, and she could do this, and then she could do this. I am just amazed that they can come up with all of these ideas. And so we have to make sure that we validate, that we gather information, right, that we're helping them get from their brainstem back up to their thinking brain so that they can talk about this. When we're in our brainstem, it is fight or flight, right? I'm done. So we have to manage it all calmly so that we can get up here. So the next one, number 6, here we go. Number 6 is be prepared to give follow-up support, right? So as we talk about they came up with solutions. So you're going to use the timer. Which timer are you going to use? The 1 minute, the 5 minute, the 10 minute? We're going to use the 10-minute timer. Okay, so there's the 10-minute timer. So I'm not necessarily sticking around to help them figure that out, but I am checking in about 10 minutes to be able to say, did they do it on their own, right? Did they do it by themselves? Okay, guys, it looks like the timer's just about out. All the sound is just about out. Do you remember what's going to happen? Yep. Dory's going to have a turn next. All right, so they've got it figured out, right? So provide that follow-up support so they feel like somebody is watching what's going on, right? And not that they want to be watched, but they want to be supported. That was probably a better use of terms. They want to be supported with what's going on. So steps in resolving conflict. That's from Highscope. Conscious discipline has a similar steps in resolving conflict. If you want to look that up, you just type in steps to resolve conflict from conscious discipline. You can type this in, steps to resolving conflict from Highscope. We have this posted in the classroom. The teachers have it on their clipboard so that they can help children learn how to problem solve. We always tell them to kiss their brain. Your brain was so smart today. It figured out something hard. We can do hard things, right? So help them figure that out. There's a great book that we'll talk about tomorrow that helps children stick to it. And I think maybe that's something that we could use. I guess it won't be tomorrow because tomorrow's Friday, but we will do it on Monday. We'll use the book Stick to It and help the kids recognize that, some of them give up pretty easily, and maybe that's something that we're struggling with right now in the COVID-19 stay-at-home time. So have a great weekend, and have a great Thursday or Friday Eve, as you may call it. And I'm wishing you all well. Mwah. I wish you well.